Hi guys, my name is Nonima Digela. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today, this is my last video for the day. I'm tired, okay? I'm tired. I need some rest. Judge Rata's judicial overreach, a breakdown of the December 5 disaster in the Senzo Meyiwa trial. That's what we are going to talk about. Number one, what happened today was unprecedented. Midway through defense witness, Gwabini he's the third witness. The first was Muzi Sidney. The second was Absalom Tlahlezi Zungu. Now it's Sifiso Gwabini Zungu. Yes, that's the third witness. And effectively, Judge Ratamu Khwatleng suspended the defense case and effectively reopened the state case without a formal application from the prosecution. This is textbook judicial overreach. Two, a judge cannot invent new issues out of thin air. Courts are referees, not participants. Yet today, the judge created a brand new question. Let's call the Section 204 witness to clarify the Gwabini confusion. The so-called Section 204 witness, which is Gwabini, is the people that are supposedly involved in his abuse and stuff. Neither the state nor defense asked for this. This is procedurally irregular. The third thing is that the entire legal focus was supposed to be on the defense witness. Once defense calls a witness, the proper sequence is the defense leads, state cross-examine, court clarifies only after both sides. The judge jumped outside this process. Four, this move directly benefits the state by bringing in the alleged Section 204 witness situation that needs to be clarified. The judge is giving the prosecution a way to clean up the Gwabini mess, something the state failed to do when they had their own case open. This is not neutrality. The judge ignored the state's own application. Remember, the state wanted Gwabini's statement admitted without proving it. Arguments were made. Defense demolished the application. Instead of ruling on it, the judge abandoned the issue completely and invented a new route. This creates a constitutional problem. Accused persons have the right to a fair trial, challenge state evidence, present their defense. Interrupting and reshaping the trial to help the state violates the equality of arms principle. The defense immediate recourse, object strongly on record, note the prejudice, continue the trial, prepare for review or appeal based on today's irregularities. Recusal is too risky this late, could collapse months of work, okay? This is reminiscent of Mikey Kapa versus State. Mikey Kapa versus State. Ironically, the very case the judge cited warns against court overreach and interfering with the adversarial presentation of evidence. The court must not descend into the arena, yet that's exactly what happened. Why today is a judicial disaster? The judge took over case management from the parties, revived the state evidence, created new issues, ignored pending arguments, paused defense testimony, all without a proper legal basis. And the end result for it all, the December 5 proceeding will almost certainly form grounds for a future appeal. Whether the judgment eventually convicts or acquits, today's conduct will haunt the records. This wasn't just an odd moment, it was a structural deviation from the adversarial system, and it changed the entire trajectory of the Senzo Meyiwa trial. Today, something happened in the Senzo Meyiwa trial that will be studied in law schools, debated in legal forums, and quoted in appeal papers for years to come. Because on December 5th, Judge Ratamu Khwatleng crossed a line that no judge is supposed to cross. Midway through the defense's witness, Gwabini, the judge did the unthinkable. He halted the defense case through the trial of its natural course and resurrected the state's case, a case that the state themselves closed months ago. This wasn't procedure, this wasn't discretion, this was judicial overreach at nuclear level. A new issue born out of nowhere. That is what we have currently. Without a single application from the state, without a single request from the defense, the judge suddenly created a brand new problem. He said, let's call people that are going to deal with the Section 204 witness to clarify the entire Gwabini saga. But here is the problem though. Court don't events issues. Court don't call state witnesses. Courts don't run their own parallel inquiries. That is not adjudication. That is participation. The state's failure gets a lifeline. That is what happened. Remember, the state failed to prove Gwabini's statement. The state's own application collapsed live on TV. The defense crushed their argument. And instead of ruling on the application, instead of dismissing it as the law demands, the judge sidestepped the entire process and offered the state a rescue plan. This wasn't judicial impartiality. This was judicial CPR for a dying case, for a dying state case. The Constitution takes a hit. When you interrupt the defense case to help the prosecution, you break the right to a fair trial, the right to present a defense, the equality of arms principle, the adversarial system. And once those pillars crack, the entire trial becomes vulnerable on review or appeal. Mike Hikapa haunts the courtroom. The irony is that the judge himself cited Mike Hikapa versus State, a case that literally warns judges, do not descend into the arena, do not become a participant. But today, he jumped into the arena head first. And in fact, that is what he normally does. He is always jumping into the arena. He is always jumping into the arena. What we are dealing with right now is a disaster set in motion. Let's list the damage clearly. Introduced an issue no party raised, reopened the state case without an application, paused the defense evidence unlawfully, ignored pending arguments, forced a new witness into the mix, titled the scales heavily towards the prosecution. This wasn't a mistake. This was a structural collapse. The aftershocks will shake the appeal courts. Whatever judgment comes months from now, guilty or not guilty, December 5 will be a lightning bolt in the appeal record, because the defense will simply say, my lord, the judge became a litigant. My lord, the judge advanced the state's case. My lord, the trial ceased to be impartial. And appellate courts do not ignore that. And this is the final nuclear line, the verdict on today's situation. On December 5th, 2025, the trial didn't just turn a corner, it turned into another lane entirely. A lane the law does not allow, a lane that could sink the entire judgment on appeal. That is what Judge Rata opened the entire situation to. I don't know what is his game plan. Maybe he wants the case to be appealable. Maybe he wants to make sure that when they go on appeal, even if he finds them guilty, the way he continues, it means he is going to find them guilty if he likes. But I pray that the Almighty God does not allow him that opportunity. He must write that judgment crying tears, in pain for whatever reason. He must write that judgment in tears. And I pray that by God's grace, by God's powers, he must invent an entire strength on Gwabini and all the entire people that are going to come and be state witnesses, defense witnesses. He must invent power that no one has ever seen come. He must invent so much power that the courtroom will sink when all the next coming defense lawyer witnesses come will do to that courtroom. He must not even allow anyone, he must not even allow anyone to they must all drown for the drama they are using, they are causing, and for the drama that they are making in the name of justice. And the same word justice that describes the Almighty God. Justice is God. If they can't do that properly, he better come down from heaven. Heaven better comes down and make justice justifiable enough to everyone who watches. And when he does that, afike ati, did I do anything wrong? He will say, no, you are just, you did everything just. I want when he speaks to Bininda, Mukhatleng, Baloyi, Sibanda, and whoever else, Mukhola, Mukhane, whoever else is involved, when they look in the mirror, they must say, indeed, Uchiko, judged, justifiable. He did right by doing whatever that is coming for them. They must not be let go, Jay Kanjani. No, that won't be right. That won't be right. The owner of judgment better come and deal with this situation himself. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. I will see you on our next video. Please make sure you don't forget to subscribe. Watch the videos up until the end. I really appreciate you. Bye-bye.